Now, Madam President, I would like to address my colleagues in the United States Senate on the life and death of Governor Bob Ray, a wonderful governor for the state of Iowa, and over a long period of time, and honor him this way. I want to pay tribute to my good friend and an exceptional Iowan, whose life and legacy will be remembered in my home state for generations to come. As the people of Iowa mourn the loss of our 38th governor, I would like to share a few ways how Robert D. Ray made Iowa a better place to grow. Looking back at his lifetime of service, it seems nearly impossible that one person could wear so many hats and reach the highest rungs of distinguished service in both public life and the private sector. After graduating from high school in 1946, Bob enlisted in the U.S. Army to serve his country that way. He returned from service and earned undergraduate and law degrees from Drake University, Des Moines, Iowa. He married the life of his life, Billy, and together they raised 3 daughters. In addition to serving 14 years as our state's chief executive from 1969 to 1983, Governor Ray also served as our state party chairman at the age of 35, chairman of the National Governors Association, interim mayor of Des Moines, 11th president of Drake University, U.S. delegate to the United Nations Conference on Refugees, CEO and board member to a number of nonprofits and for-profit corporations. Reading such an outstanding resume, one might come to the conclusion that this Iowan must have an outside ego to match. To that, I can personally affirm Bob Ray was a humble leader driven by a servant's heart. He brought honesty, dignity, and integrity to the campaign trail and in turn to state government. His policy achievements as 38th governor made government work better for the people, reorganizing state government, like the creation of the Department of Transportation and modernizing National Guards. And that's just a few of the reorganizations. But through doing this, he strengthened rock-solid Iowa values in education, conservation, good government, and fiscal stewardship. It was Governor Ray who signed Iowa's, we call it the bottle bill. You know, you get a redemption for a can you return instead of throwing it in the dump. He signed it into law to keep our roadways clean and our state looking beautiful. Arguably, the last measure of his governorship is defined by moral leadership, and particularly as evidenced by at the fall of Saigon in 1975. As a result of that ending of the Vietnam War, his actions transcended the riverbanks of America's heartland to reach thousands of refugees across the world. Those refugees were fleeing communism in Southeast Asia. Governor Ray persuaded President Ford to allow Iowa to welcome the Thai Dam to Iowa, allowing this close-knit ethnic group to stay intact and to resettle in Iowa. In 1978, we had another wave of Southeast Asians who were desperate to escape communism in South Vietnam. They became known as the boat people, who put their lives in peril for the pearl of freedom that we offer in America. Bob Ray put his political life on the line to open Iowa's homes and hearts to rescue them from suffering and death. In so doing, he saved the lives of thousands of people, including generations of new Iowans yet to be born. Yet again, Governor Ray responded in 1979 to another humanitarian crisis going on in Southeast Asia by launching the Iowa Shares program. The acronym SHARES stands for Iowa Sends Help to Aid Refugees and End Starvation. That very first year, the program raised more than $600,000 in less than 1 month, small donations to send food and medicine to starving people in the Cambodian border. Volunteer nurses and doctors from Iowa also went to save these people who suffered under the harsh Khmer Rouge regime of Pol Pot. When one of those members of the boat people first learned of Governor Ray's passing, she was moved to tears. Now a wife and mother of 5 children, she prayed for Governor Ray, in fact referring to him as Saint Bob Ray. She attributed his courage and generosity to saving thousands of people just like hers. And Senator Ernst and I, at this funeral, saw a whole part of the church filled with these Southeast Asians who very much wanted to express their appreciation to Governor Ray's leadership by being there at that funeral. In 2005, Governor Ray received Iowa's highest civilian honor, the Iowa Award. It is a well-deserved honor for this legendary man of honor. He is a statesman, a humanitarian hero, and of course, to those who loved him the most, he was a husband, dad, and grandpa. Years after Governor Ray left the governor's mansion called Terrace Hill, he launched the Robert D. Ray and Billy Ray Center at Drake University. Now that center's mission is dedicated to improving civility and developing ethical leaders at home and throughout the world. And for all of us, we know in a society less civil now than it has been throughout most of the history of our country, that center is going to serve a very needed purpose. And for those who know the story of Bob Ray, his ray of light connected with the center will inspire generations of leaders for years to come. Barbara and I join our fellow Iowans to extend our condolences to Billy and the entire Ray family. We will miss this extraordinary Iowan. Our state benefited in countless ways because he shared his gift so generously to make Iowans an even better place to grow and to grow for generations to come.